All right, guys, lesson 3. We are going to be on page 25, changing elevation. I understand how to add positive and negative numbers in general. All right, 3.1. Draw arrows on the number line to represent this situation. The temperature was 5 degrees. The temperature rose 5 degrees. The climber was 30 feet above sea level. Then she descended 30 feet. And then what's the opposite of running 150 feet east? Jumping down 10 steps. Jumping down 10 steps and then pouring 8 gallons into a fish tank. Go ahead and hit pause, and then we'll answer the questions, and then we'll get going. All right, let's see what you got. So, the temperature was negative 5 degrees. Then it rose 5 degrees. So, we start anywhere we can pick 0. 0's right there. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's negative 5. And it rose 5 degrees. So rise means we're increasing, so we're going to go to the right 5 degrees. We end at 0. You're right. 30 feet above sea level. Well, I don't have 30 tick marks, so I'm going to say each one is worth 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then she descended, meaning she goes down, so we're going to move to the left, 30, back to 0. All right, what's the opposite of running 150 east? Well, 150 west. Jumping down 10 steps, and jumping up 10 steps. And pouring 8 gallons into a fish tank, well, pouring 8 gallons out of the fish tank. Okay? All right, page 26. A mountaineer is climbing on a cliff. She is 200 feet above the ground. If she climbs up, this will be a positive change. If she climbs down, this will be a negative change. Complete the table. So she starts at 200. She adds 70. So 200 plus 70 is 270. Okay, she starts at 200 and she goes down 120. So 200 minus 120 is 80. All right, so 200 plus what will give me 300? Well, 200 plus 100 gives me 300. 200 plus what gives me 110? Well, I start with a bigger number and I put the smaller number, so I know it's going to be negative. To get from 200 down to 110, I've got to take away 90. And then 200 to 35.2, once again, I'm ending with a smaller positive number. This one I might take the calculator. So if I take 200 and I minus 35.2, 200 minus 35.2, that will tell me how far in elevations I changed. So using my calculator, 200 minus 35.2, I get 100. So we're going down, so it's minus 164.8. Okay? All right. Number 2. Well, letter B. Select 3 rows from the table and draw a number line diagram for each, including the starting elevation. If you want to do that, you can. I'm not going to. All right, number 2. A spelunker is down in the cave next to the cliff. If she climbs down deeper into the cave, this will be a negative change. If she climbs up, whether inside the cave or out of the cave, she'll be positive change. Complete the table. So negative 12 or negative 20 minus 15 more. So if I think of a number line, she's at negative 20, and we're minusing 15 more. So there's 5, 10, 15. So negative 20, negative 25, negative 30, negative 35 is where she's going to end up. Okay, now we're at negative 20, and we're adding 130. So I would use my calculator for this one. Negative 20 plus 130 gives me 110, positive 110. Okay? So on these next ones, I start at negative 20 and I need to end up at 61. So if I think from negative 20 to 0, that's 20 units, right? And then from 0 up to 61, that's 61 units. So 20 plus 61 is positive 81 units. okay? From negative 20 up to negative 5, that's 15 units. So we're adding 15, okay? From negative 20 to negative 50, so now we're going left, so we're going to add a negative, or we're subtracting. So we have negative 20, and we end up at negative 50. Well, there's 30 units there, so we're subtracting 30. Okay, negative 20 plus 27.5. Well, I know from negative 20 up to 0, that's 20 units, so that means I have 7.5 left, so 0 plus 7.5 is 7.5. And then from negative 20 up to 0, that's 20 units. And then from 0 up to 73.5, that's 73.5 units. So if I add those together, I get 93.5 units, okay? This may seem all tricky and confusing. Use a calculator. That's what they're there for. Just make sure we're typing them in the calculator correctly. All right, letter B we're not going to do. Number 3. Draw a table. Complete this table and draw a number line diagram to represent each row. So if we start with 200 and we subtract 200, we are going to end up at 0. All right, and then negative 20 plus what gives me 0? Well, positive 20 will give me 0. All right, 3.3, adding irrational numbers. So find the sums. Well, 30 plus 5 is 35. So negative 35 plus positive 35 gives me 0. On these other two, we could spend the time trying to figure out what the numbers are, or we can just type it in our calculator. Negative 0.15 plus negative 0.85 is negative 1. So we have negative 1 plus 12.5. If we type that in our calculator, it's negative 11. Okay? Negative 1/2 plus negative 3/4. Use your calculator. Negative 1/4. Okay? And yeah, we're not going to do that. So we're done. So lesson 3, summary. The opposite of a number is the same distance from 0, but on the other side of 0. The opposite of negative 9 is positive 9. When we add opposites, we will always get 0. This diagram shows that 9 plus negative 9 equals 0. Okay? Positive 9 is green, negative 9 is red. We move to the right 9 and back 9, and we end up at 0. When we add two numbers with the same sign, the arrows that represent them point in the same direction. When we put the arrows tip to tail, we see the sum has the same sign. So in other words, a positive plus a positive is a positive. Okay, we have already known that. It also works for negatives as well. A negative plus another negative is going to be a bigger negative. To find the sum, we add the magnitudes and give them the correct sign. For example, negative 5 plus negative 4 is negative 5 plus 4, and that is negative 9. On the other hand, when they add two numbers with different signs, we subtract their magnitudes because their arrows point in different directions and give the sign of the number sign of the number with a larger magnitude. For example, negative 5 plus 12 equals 12 plus 5, or 12 minus 5. 12 minus 5 is 7. So 12 is bigger, it's going to be positive 7. Okay, so if signs have the same, or if numbers have the same sign, then either they're both positive or they're both negative, they're going to stay that. So positive plus a positive equals a positive. A negative plus a negative equals a negative. Okay, it's when the signs are different that we subtract them, and then we take the sign of the bigger number. Remember, looking at our assignment, we are going to be doing numbers 2 and number 3 in your book. So number 2, what is the final elevation if a bird starts at 10 and changes 16? Notice both numbers are positive, so just add those, 20 plus 16. Number 2, or letter B, a butterfly starts at 20 and changes is negative 16, so 20 minus 16. 5 minus 16, negative 9 minus 11, and negative 9 minus 11. That's right here. Okay, on number 2. On number 3, it says one of the particles in an atom is called an electron. It has a charge of negative 1. Another particle in an atom is a proton. It has a change of positive 1. The charge of an atom is the sum of the charges of the electrons and protons, meaning we're going to add them together. So use your calculator and add these numbers together. negative 6 plus positive, negative 6 plus 6, negative 10 plus 10, negative 10 plus 8, negative 27 plus 29, and negative 50 plus 50. Use your calculators, okay? Remember, if you have any questions, you can always ask.